Procter and Gamble came up with a new commercial they're calling The Talk, in which black parents are talking to their children about the things they have to deal with in society. And this comes up.
When you get pulled over,
I'm a good driver. Okay?
baby,
Don't worry.
this is not about you getting a ticket. This is about you not coming home.
I'm gonna be okay.
The video then ends with hashtag bias and says it's time for everyone to talk about bias. Well, okay, Procter and Gamble, let's have a little chat about bias.
I got you. Yeah, I will defend my brothers. I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite. Bring it on. It's time to fight.
Procter and Gamble, aka P&G, they're an enormous company that owns a bunch of brands, things like Scope mouthwash. But instead of focusing on that, they have decided to make a commercial that was more akin to brainwash. This is infuriatingly nuts. It's nuts because this commercial is exactly the type of thing that is perpetuating racism in North America right now. Just imagine if the roles were reversed and instead of painting the entire group of law enforcement as this potentially deadly force when you get stopped by them, we painted as cops an entire race as potentially deadly. Listen, when you make that traffic stop later, be careful. I'm a safe cop though. No problem. But if it's a black driver, I want you to come home. If I posted that as a commercial for humanizing the badge, if I posted that as a legitimate commercial for my brand as Mike the Cop, how do you think that would go over? And it shouldn't go over very well because that would be ridiculous. On the face of it, that proves my point in this video, and what I'm contending for is that the contents of this video are created to induce shame in the viewers that would take issue with its contents rather than actually lead to a productive dialogue between people who may see things differently and come from different backgrounds and experiences, but who can look at something and engage with objectivity. Now, I will credit this video in the sense that it's not all set right now. If I'm not mistaken, it does show sort of like engaging through different generations. And have we had in our history race issues and systemic race problems in our past? Absolutely. That's an undeniable fact. But the struggle for social equalization is not a struggle only experienced in the black community. It has been experienced by all communities at some point in the past. What we're dealing with now is a perception problem in which, rather than focus on the individual examples of racism where they exist, the individual or unique cases of racism where they legitimately exist, rather than do that, we're painting things in broad swaths, and we are perpetuating a perception problem as if it was reality across the board. And as a law enforcement officer, I felt compelled to respond to this because all law enforcement officers are being painted in this commercial as some type of dangerous entity on the whole. It doesn't mean that there has never been or never will be individual cops or pockets of that exist. But that's how it has to be dealt with. Putting a broad commercial out that paints one group of people in a certain way is poor judgment. And what it's doing is it's dividing us. It's creating a division that doesn't need to exist, and it's dividing it along the lines of race rather than along the lines of the contents of people's character, which one wise person once said.
Will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
The reality is that the greatest threat in the black community, as far as violence is concerned and not returning home, comes from within the black community. And please understand, I say that not as a holier than thou, not as I'm better, not as whites are better versus blacks. That's all irrelevant. The fact is that you stand a greater chance as a black person in this country of suffering violence at the hand of another black person within that community than you ever do of even a racist cop, let alone your normal police officer that is out there doing their job in unremarkable ways that the news will never see or know, and they do good work in their community and go home and participate in their activities at home just like everyone else. But as a police officer who has had a black president that I have served under, who has also served under a black male and black female attorney general, and in case you don't know, that's the highest law enforcement official in the land, it's laughable to me to say that law enforcement as a whole has a systemic race problem or a systemic problem of killing innocent people. It's just not true. And it's demonstrably not true by facts, not by conjecture, not by emotions, but by facts, which don't care about your feelings. They don't care about my feelings. I'm not better than anyone else. This isn't a holier than thou thing. This isn't a I get it and you don't thing. This is we all need to humble ourselves and look at the truth of the matter. And if we were all equally committed to the truth, even where we have disagreements, if we base it on trying to understand objective information and bring that to the table, we can actually be productive in getting past some of these perceptions that we would have about one another. I believe that Black lives matter. I believe that blue lives matter. I believe that all lives matter. You've watched some of my videos, guess what? I even believe that dudes who have penises that think their vaginas also matter, because we're all human, and I believe that we all deserve equal treatment under the law. Unfortunately, this commercial does a lot more to force us to take sides and create those sides as black versus law enforcement, black versus white, than it does to actually push us to truth versus fiction. That's where the battle lies. That's the side that you have to choose. So choose wisely, my friends. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button for my channel. If you want to find me off of YouTube, you can always add me on Snapchat, follow me on Instagram or Twitter, like my Facebook page, and if you really like me, you can also check out my store or my Patreon page.